Hello, Manny Wolfe here, and today I want to cover with you another commonly asked question I get when people are ramping up into a speaking career, or even if it's not a career, just ramping up into using speaking to grow their coaching or expert business. So one of the questions that always comes up is, how do I charge? What do I charge? And there are a number of questions that come along with that. So I want to give you kind of a conceptual overview here. Pick a price. I would suggest for a new speaker, $2,500. And listen closely to this part. You must practice saying this before you get into a conversation with a decision maker, someone who books speakers. Before you get into a conversation with them and they ask you, you have to have this sort of in your mouth already. You've got to be ready with this. And so here's what happens. They'll often ask you what your speaker's fee is. And new speakers get nervous. They choke right there. So get used to saying my normal speaking fee is, and then insert the fee. I would say start with $2,500. However, be ready in your mind to negotiate. And this is a very important point. You may have a book. You may have some sort of other piece of collateral. You may have a program. You may have, I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know your situation, but you've got things, probably. If you're a coach, if you're an expert, you've got content that you've created for training and promotional purposes. So what I would suggest to you is, first of all, practice the price. Practice saying, my normal speaking fee is $2,500. Wait for a second. Gauge their reaction. Sometimes they'll tell you yes, sometimes they'll tell you that's not in our budget, and sometimes they'll just pause and sort of make the moment uncomfortable, right? If it's not in their budget, or if they just pause and make the moment uncomfortable, be ready with a saying like this one. Under certain circumstances, I'm willing to be flexible with my fee and even waive it. Why don't we get creative together and see if we can come up with a win-win solution? Under certain circumstances, I'm willing to be flexible with my speaking fee and in some cases, even waive it. Why don't we get creative and come up with a win-win solution together? This may sound very simple, but this is the kind of thing that you want to be prepared with ahead of time. You never know. You can negotiate things like, can they put in a contract for you that they'll have a professional photographer, a professional videographer? Perhaps they'll buy 100 copies of your book. You've got to be flexible and willing to negotiate. Can they recommend you to other people and organizations that hire speakers? You want to be thinking like this because every speaking gig, whether it's free or whether you get paid, has the potential for very, very valuable ROI, but you've got to know how to get it. So, remember, say it with me. My normal speaking fee is $2,500. But in certain cases, I'm willing to be flexible or even waive my fee. So why don't we get creative together and see if we can come up with a win-win arrangement? See? See how much more powerful that is than not being ready? Take this, get used to this, be prepared to have a discussion and a negotiation, and watch as you start to get more and more ROI from every speaking opportunity.